Hello everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're going to be reviewing My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games, the third installment of the Equestria Girls franchise. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Equestria Girls Friendship Games. But without further ado, let's get right in to the pros. Alright, starting off again, like I've stated before, with the first two Equestria Girl movies, the animation in here is pretty good, and that is mainly because it's, again, the same animation used for the Friendship is Magic TV series, which already has pretty good animation, and again, they didn't change that animation here for this third Equestria Girls movie, and they do have some pretty good looking, animation in here, particularly towards, the final battle when we get Midnight Sparkle and Daydream Shimmer fighting against each other in some Spider-Man No Way Home looking purple cracks in the sky, which I know that this movie came out way before No Way Home, but I associate those purple cracks in the sky in Friendship Games as a No Way Home reference. Also, how this Canterlot High School went ahead and had another big event. In the first movie, it was a high school dance, the fall formal. In the second movie, it was a musical showcase that turned into a battle of the bands. And here in the third one, it is an event known as the Friendship Games, which has some pretty interesting history with the rival school, Crystal Prep Academy, which, again, pretty clever spin on the Crystal Empire from the Friendship is Magic series and the Pony World. And I just really liked how they had this rivalry history that was preset before we even learn about this alternate universe at all. And essentially, this is kind of Canterlot High's attempt to try to finally beat Crystal Prep at winning the Friendship Games. Sunset Shimmer, as usual in these movies, continues to be a good part of the series, but I think to me, this is kind of the weakest we've seen of Sunset. Not saying that she didn't have much to do, but her story arc of trying to find out about this magic that's going on with her friends of ponying up when they're not even playing their instruments, which was preset and established in the last movie. I kind of felt to me, that was kind of the least interesting subplot for Sunset Shimmer in these movies, but that's just my own opinion. The soundtrack, again, is also pretty good in here, and that's one thing that I can praise the Equestria Girl movies. The soundtracks are really good and playlist edition worthy. Now, I will admit, the Friendship Games soundtrack isn't as good as the Rainbow Rock soundtrack. This is where we kind of start to dip in terms of the soundtrack, but I'm not saying the soundtrack is bad at all. You do get some really good songs in here, especially Unleash the Magic, which essentially, through my eyes and interpretation, is the official Peer Pressure song. I don't know whether you guys think the same way or not, but I just feel that song as the official pure definition of what peer pressure is. When talking about the new character introduced in here, Twilight, now I say that because this is a variant of Twilight Sparkle, as the MOP fandom have dubbed her as Sci-Twi. I used to be not a fan of the Sci-Twi character just because I really like the version of Twilight that came from the Equestria world and they replaced her, but over time I was they're essentially the same character with the same personalities, just like with the other human versions of the characters from the Pony World. So over time, my opinion towards Sci-Twi has changed. And I thought for her introduction in this movie, I thought was pretty good and handled pretty well, at least in my opinion. I felt that after the setup that they had in the post-credit scene of Rainbow Rocks teasing this Twilight variant, And I felt like that, yeah, they did a good enough job with establishing this character in this movie, but I will say that her story like really starts to pick up in the next movie, Legend of Everfree. And I mentioned earlier Daydream Shimmer versus Midnight Sparkle with that Spider-Man No Way Home purple cracks in the sky. That battle was pretty good, although I will say nothing will top that Rainbow Rock's final battle with the Rain Booms versus the Dazzlings, but with those No Way Home like purple cracks in the sky, you do get exposed to Equestria in the Pony World, and yeah, I felt like that there were kinda some stakes there, even though we knew how this would end if you essentially watched like season 5 of Friendship is Magic, because they do not address the purple cracks in the sky to like a human world. But I felt like that all of that was just done pretty well in here. And so yes, even though this was kind of a step down in quality from the previous two Equestria Girl movies, this was still a really good movie that I thoroughly enjoyed, but it's not without its faults. So let's get into the cons. Oh, it's starting off with like the pendant that Twilight has, where it collects the elements magic from the main 6/Rain Booms. I felt like it was kind of lazily done, and I felt like it was kind of like a big plot convenience to how Twilight becomes Midnight Sparkle. Like, just a minor gripe I have with the movie. I also thought that the main villain of the movie, Principal Cinch, the principal of Crystal Prep Academy, to me, she was probably the weakest villain of the entire Equestria Girls movies, maybe the Equestria Girls franchise, but I'll have to rewatch those specials. But in terms of like the movies, I felt like that she was the weakest villain of the four villains that we got in this quadrilogy. And yeah, she was the one responsible for bringing Midnight Sparkle out and causing all of this mayhem and possible incursion. But like her motive of keeping her school's reputation of being winners, that kind of was like a very weak motive in comparison to like Gloriosa Daisy in the next movie. But overall, I don't really have that much cons for this movie. While yes, again, this is a dip in quality from the previous two movies, it's still a really good movie and definitely one that I recommend. If you enjoyed the first two Equestria Girl movies, go ahead and check out this third one because I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games 4.5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 9.5 out of 10, with the percentage being 95%, with a grade of A, with my final verdict being least favorite, but still a really good continuation. But that was my review for Equestria Girls Friendship Games. Be sure to stay tuned on the channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST for my review of the fourth and final Equestria Girls movie, Legend of Everfree. So stay tuned for that video, and also hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Friendship Games. But until my Legend of Everfree review, have a great day.